The billionaire and the chapati cook. Have you ever met someone so difficult that even saying good morning felt like asking for permission? In Nairobi, everybody knew Victoria Wanjira. She owned hotels, apartment buildings, shopping malls and restaurants across Kenya. Money followed her. Happiness didn't. Her workers feared the sound of her high heels more than the office bell. One Monday morning, a maid carefully served her tea. Victoria took one sip. She frowned. Is this tea, or are you trying to wash my ancestors? The poor maid almost dropped the tray. Later, the gardener smiled politely. Good morning, madam. Victoria didn't even look at him. Finish trimming those flowers before greeting me. Every employee lowered their eyes whenever she walked past. One mistake, one wrong word, one broken plate. You were finished. That evening Victoria hosted several international investors at her mansion in Karen. The kitchen was under pressure. Daniel, a young assistant cook from Githurai, had only worked there for 3 weeks. As he rushed to prepare the special peanut-free sauce, someone called his name. He turned, his hand slipped. A spoonful of crushed peanuts accidentally fell into Victoria's meal. Nobody noticed. 20 minutes later, Victoria struggled to breathe. The dinner stopped. Guests panicked. Her personal doctor rushed in and injected emergency medication. By morning she had recovered. The head chef assembled every kitchen worker. Victoria walked in slowly. Who cooked my food? Daniel stepped forward. I'm sorry, madam. It was an accident. Victoria didn't blink. Collect your salary and leave. The head chef tried to defend him. Madam, he's hardworking. Victoria raised one finger. I wasn't asking for opinions. Daniel quietly removed his apron, picked up his small backpack, looked once at the kitchen, then walked away without saying another word. Life moved on. At least, for Victoria, Daniel couldn't find another job. For weeks he searched everywhere. Finally, using his last savings, he bought flour, cooking oil and a small charcoal stove. Every evening he stood beside a busy road in Ngara making chapatis. Business was slow, but he smiled anyway. One evening a little street boy walked up shyly. Uncle, I haven't eaten today. I don't have money. Daniel smiled. Good, because kindness is today's payment. He wrapped 2 hot chapatis, added a little beans, and handed them to the boy. The child ran away smiling. Daniel smiled too. A few days later, Victoria attended a charity gala in Westlands. After midnight she decided to drive herself home. Near Pangani, her luxury Range Rover suddenly died. She tried starting it again. Nothing. Her phone showed no signal. The road became quiet. A few suspicious young men stood watching from a distance. For the first time in years, Victoria felt afraid. Then she noticed smoke from a roadside chapati stand. The cook immediately saw her stranded. Without hesitation he ran over. Madam, are you all right? My car won't start. No problem. Let's have a look. He rolled under the vehicle. His shirt became even dirtier. Meanwhile, his chapatis burned. Customers walked away. He never looked back. 40 minutes later, the engine finally roared back to life. Victoria sighed with relief. You've saved me. She opened her handbag and pulled out a thick bundle of cash. Daniel gently pushed her hand back. No, madam, you looked frightened. I couldn't leave you here. Victoria stared at him. Nobody had ever refused her money. As she drove away, she couldn't stop thinking about the man who smelled of smoke, flour and charcoal. The next evening, she found herself driving back to the same chapati stand. This time, she told herself, I'm only buying supper. Daniel smiled. Caribou. 1 chapati became 2. 2 evenings became a week. Soon, the billionaire who dined in 5-star hotels looked forward to sitting on a tiny plastic stool beside a smoky charcoal stove. Daniel joked with everyone. He greeted Boda Boda riders by name. He teased Watoto from the estate. He gave free chapatis whenever someone was hungry. One evening Daniel handed Victoria a cup of Kenyan tea before she even asked. She looked surprised. How did you know I wanted tea? He laughed. I had a feeling you'd come. For reasons she couldn't explain. Her heart skipped. She started smiling more. Her employees noticed. She stopped shouting. She started saying, please, thank you, I'm sorry. One afternoon a cleaner accidentally broke an expensive vase. Everyone froze, waiting for the old Victoria. She simply smiled. It's only a vase. Let's clean it up. The staff looked at each other in disbelief. Who was this woman? Weeks later, Victoria realized something frightening. She was in love, but Daniel wasn't alone. His girlfriend, Crystal, loved parties more than people. Daniel surprised her with fresh flowers. She frowned. Flowers. Where's my new iPhone? He saved money for a romantic dinner. She laughed. My friends are flying to Diani. You expect me to eat chapati with you? Every payday, she disappeared with friends. Every month, she returned only when she needed money. Victoria never interfered. Instead, she believed in Daniel. Quietly, she encouraged him to dream bigger. She secretly paid for a small restaurant space through one of her companies. She helped him register a business without putting her name anywhere. Then one morning she handed him a small envelope. Daniel opened it. Inside, keys, the chapati corner, his own restaurant. He looked at her in disbelief. You did this, she smiled. No, you earned it. Crystal wasn't happy. She looked around the new restaurant, then smiled greedily. Finally, now you can buy me a Mercedes. That was the moment Daniel understood. She had never loved him, only what she could get from him. He quietly ended the relationship. Months later, the Chapati Corner became one of Nairobi's busiest restaurants. One afternoon, Daniel received a call. A billionaire wanted him to cater for a private dinner at her mansion. He accepted. As the gates opened, he froze. Karen, the same mansion, the same house, the same woman. Victoria walked toward him nervously. I've wanted to tell you something. Daniel smiled gently. I know. You know what? You fired me. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. You recognized me, the first night your car broke down. She stood speechless. Then, why did you still help me? Daniel smiled. Because good people don't stop doing good. Just because someone was once unkind. Victoria could no longer hold back her tears. I'm sorry. I judged you after one mistake. I looked down on you because of your job. I didn't even thank you for saving me. Daniel smiled. The woman who fired me, and the woman standing before me today, are not the same person. A year later, they were married, not because one was rich, not because one had become successful, but because one person taught the other. That kindness can soften even the hardest heart. Years passed. Together they opened restaurants across Kenya. Yet every Saturday afternoon, Victoria, still tied on an apron, stood beside Daniel, and made chapatis with her own hands. One day a young employee accidentally burned an entire batch. The kitchen became silent. Everyone expected shouting. Victoria smiled. It's only chapati. We'll make another one. Daniel looked at her, and smiled, because in that moment, he knew, the woman who had once fired him, was gone forever. That evening Daniel nervously cooked dinner at home. Victoria laughed. You're checking the ingredients again. Daniel grinned. I'm still making sure there are no peanuts. She smiled warmly. I'm not afraid anymore, as long as I'm eating with you. Sometimes, the richest person in the room isn't the one with the biggest bank account. It's the one with the kindest heart. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the ENVILA show for more powerful African love stories, unexpected twists, and inspiring endings. Until the next story, be kind. You never know whose life, or your own, you might change.